Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, the honorable adjudicators and distinguished judges, and of course, my respectable opponent. My name is James Michael Harefa, and I will be representing my school today, Regina Caeli Senior High School, in this National School Debating Championship. I'd like to thank for the opportunity that has been given to me to present my arguments today. I will be playing the role of the opposition side first speaker of the House. So I will be against the motion. The motion is this House prefers the strategy of pushing for institutional reform to address police abuse and misconduct rather than defunding the police. So before I get into the arguments, let us all thank God for allowing us to gather here in good health and safe prosperity. First, to start my session, I will do some rebuttals. The first one, the first speaker of the affirmative team stated that defunding the police will reduce its effectivity to handle criminal cases. But that is not true because the quality of a police department is not seen from its tools or its instruments to handle these problems, but more to the police officers themselves. So in conclusion, your statement has been countered because defunding the police would not reduce its effectivity if the police officers maintain their good work ethos. The second rebuttal that I would like to explain is about the body cams that you have stated. You state that the institutional reform include the necessity of body cams on police officers. But that isn't quite considerable because the body cam already exists and it has helped in multiple occasions in dealing with abusive police officers. Therefore, it is not necessary. The next point that you have stated that I would like to rebut is the diversification of the police. You stated that it is needed more black police, Arab police, Asian police officers across the country of the United States. But that is not true because as you have seen the George Floyd case before, there was actually an Asian police officer in the scene that did not held responsible for the death of George Floyd. He was just watching there as Derek Chauvin killed George Floyd with his knee. Therefore, it is concluded that race does not determine the success or the effectivity of the police officers. I will continue into my arguments. The first one, according to the most recent data, available police department received about $114.5 billion nationwide in 2017 alone from state and local government, up from $42.3 billion in 1977. That is an incredibly substantial raise to the funding of the police. This is based on prcon.org. 4% of the total state and local budgets have been included in the police budget. That shows just how much the police are actually funded. It is substantially better to defund the police. Why, you may ask? It is because the money will be allocated to a much more important program such as training, counseling, and violence prevention programs. And also health care in the US, because it is already known that healthcare in the US costs very high. Each year, state and local governments spend a staggering $100 billion on law enforcement. And that's not even the billions more in federal grants and resources. Funneling so many resources into law enforcement instead of education, affordable housing, and accessible healthcare has caused significant harm to many communities in the US. Do you even know how much it costs for child labor in the US? It's a staggering $2,000 just to give birth, and $200 more to hold a baby right after you have given birth to the baby. So, I would like to ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to imagine if the $114+ billion in the police were allocated to more important sections such as the health section, we wouldn't have to spend $2,000 only to give birth to a baby and $200 to hold the baby after we have given birth to it. Based on ACLU.org, out of 10.3 million arrests are made every year, only 5% are for serious offenses. These serious offenses include murder, bank robbery, like genocides, and overall mass abuse, and 95% of arrests are for things that doesn't even threaten everyday life. These include minor incidents such as the lots of traffic violations, marijuana possessions, unlawful assembly, or even just removing a shopping cart from a grocery store. Those are all my arguments for this session. I will now continue to clarify by repeating some of the arguments that I have stated. As I have said, it is better to substantially defund the police. Why? Because we need the money allocated to other programs, such as a very important veterans program that has seen so many veterans from the war come back home to the US and receive zero money and end up being homeless, or even violence prevention programs that is way important than law enforcement, because if we can prevent a crime, why should we handle it? Therefore, making violence prevention programs very much extremely more important than law enforcement itself. The next point is the unlogical amount of money that is used every day by the police department. As I have said, $100 billion plus is spent on police departments and law enforcement every year. That money is better to be allocated to health because, as I have said, child labor and multiple other simple treatments in the US has cost hundreds of dollars, making healthcare in the US one of the most expensive and inaccessible to many people, including the hundreds or thousands of homeless people that also do exist in the US. And 95% of the arrests that happen each year is just for minor crimes, so it's just a waste of taxes if you see that they only 95% of the arrests are for small crimes. To summarize, defunding the police can be done very fast. The situation is already very critical. Reforming a whole government institution will take too long. Change must be done powerfully. Change must be done smart, and change needs to happen now. I thank you for your attention. I couldn't be any more proud to present my speech. Thank you for your attention. I apologize if I have made any mistakes during my session, and thank you.